it is getting prod underscore employee. So now you can able to view the data.
PROD table name.
Yeah. Okay, so now you can able to view the complete data. So including email, phone number and country. Okay. So this is how we will grant the permissions. Whoever having this consumer role, so those people can able to view the complete data. So here, so I'm account admin. So even account admin also doesn't having a permissions to view the complete data which is available in the table prod underscore employee. Okay, so this is how the column level they will restrict the data. Okay, clear? Any doubts?
Can you please explain one more that briefly, one by step by step?
Yeah, yeah, okay. So here, so we have a table, right? So this is the table. So in this table, email address, phone number, and country. So these three columns, I do not want to explore these three columns data to everyone. Okay, so this is the requirement from the consumer. So you derive one rule. So this role, whoever having access means this role, how many users it is assigned, those users only can able to view the data, which means in the HR people, some portion of the data it will be HR people and some portion of the data will be some delivery heads or some board members or India level or abroad level for the entire organization. HRs, they have all the rights. They can able to view the complete employee information details from the organization, who left from the organization, who promoted, how long served. So every information it will be accessible by the high level HR people. Okay, so here these details they should not reveal to some of the HR peoples, even from the HR peoples, from the management perspective. So that case, they will request us. So these three columns data is sensitive data. So I don't want to reveal these three columns data to everyone. So that case, if the consumer doesn't having any knowledge on that, then we can suggest them. Okay, so we will go for column level security features. Okay, so if the person doesn't having access to view these three columns data, then what should I display? So should I display star star, or should I display some special symbols, or should I display a text like access denied or no access? So we will give the solutions to the consumer. So the consumer will decide which has to come, who doesn't having access. Okay, so once that is done, what you can do is then you can start defining the role. So before defining the role, so we will look what kind of data it is. They will give sample data in the system, and then we will start creating the role. So this is the consumer role. So I'm creating a consumer role and I'm assigning this consumer role to the user. Assign role to user. So this is manually I written the code. So here if you go to the account tab, find the roles. So here you can consumer, right? Select here and click on edit. So here only one role we have given. So granted permissions for this user only. Okay, so in going forward in future, if you want to add more users, you can select here, add it. Okay, so these many users you can you can keep on adding. So this role will automatically apply to these many users. It means these many users can able to view the data. Okay, so once you click on save, then automatically these changes will apply. So I'll try to give this AK-Reddy03 role clause. Okay, click on save it. It will automatically apply the roles. Okay, here's one way, or if you want, you can make it. Okay, so through programmatically, I showed you how you can assign this role to the user specific users. So here, this is not only restrict to the users. This we can assign this role to Snowflake accounts, reader accounts, and users. Okay, any users, any reader accounts, any Snowflake account, we can assign and grant this role to the these three type of users. Okay, then what you can do is you can create one more role called mask demo. Okay, and this mask demo role I'm assigning to the role consumer. Okay, so now I'm granting database to the role consumer. So now what I'm doing is I'm just creating a masking policy. So I'm not assigning anything. I'm just create or replace masking policy. Till here it is fixed. Okay, and this is the keyword. And here whichever the name you are comfortable you can give, and it should be a meaningless whichever the column you are applying. Okay, so I just gave mask underscore email, which means we are applying a masking policy for the role for the column email. Okay, and it is always treated as a string. Okay, because string will accept all type of values. It will accept characters, numeric characters, special characters, special symbols, everything it will be considered by string. So that's why in Snowflake also it is recommending to use only data type string. Okay, and it will return always string. Okay, so the same way I'm applying for phone and the country. So if you want to add another 3 columns, you can add it. Okay, so then once you create a masking policy, then it is very easy. Once you create a masking policy, then you can apply this masking policy to the specific column in the table. Okay, so I'm using alter statement. By using alter, I'm adding the column email column. I'm setting a masking policy. So which means this one. Instead of email, I'm setting mask underscore email. The same way for phone number and country. Then once you set the masking policy in the column level, here we are set successfully for masking policies. But we are not specifying which role. So here we are specifying a role. Whoever having a current role is consumer, those people only can able to get the complete can get the email column data. So by default, email ID, first name, last name, gender, date of birth, date of joining, city, region. These columns everyone can able to view it. Okay, so we are trying to restricting email, phone, and country column. Okay, so here we are applying this masking policy on roles level. Okay, so alter a masking policy name is mask underscore email ID and set, which means and each and every record it will verify it is email column, and then it will look for the current role. If the current role is account consumer, then only we can able to view the data, or else you will get this star symbols. Okay, and here there is no restriction. If you want, you can make it no access. And the same I'm setting for this column. I'm giving decimals I'm giving. So this is for phone numbers. And for the country, I'm giving so which are the symbols you would like to add it here, you can add it. So there is no restriction. In the single quotation, which means if you give any symbol, any data, it will display as it is. Okay. So after you done that, then I'm executing this statement. So you'll get access to it. Access, no access. And here it is getting phone number at no access at, and here dollar no access. So whichever the name or symbols you are comfortable, you can give it. So here we are assigning masking policy at row level. Okay. So why? Because if you apply a masking policy at row level, it is easy for us in going forward to whom we have to grant this role to the users, so that it is easy. In a fraction of minutes, we can assign these roles to whoever the user want to access or view this data. They can able to view it. Okay. So, and this is by default. Why we are giving a warehouses for users? We do not have a warehouse, and even they don't have permissions to create a warehouse. So that's why the custom warehouse access which we have created, that we are assigning to the roles level and granting permissions to the tables data to the role consumer. Okay, clear? Any doubts? So here the pattern should be, first point is we will create a role and assign this role to the user. Then we can create a masking policy, and after that alter the masking policy, which means we are assigning masking policy at the column levels. Then after that apply a masking policy at row level. That's it. So automatically whoever having this role, those people can able to access the data. Okay, so the complete data they can able to access it. Okay, So without proper approval email from the consumer side, so we should not share this, or we should not reveal this data to the other users. Okay, so here switch to the consumer role. So data is not assigned to this, it is not coming. The reason is we are assigning this role to the user only for this. Now it is appear, right? So you double click and you can write select star, or you can click on preview data. Anything whichever you are comfortable, you can. Okay, so now you can view the complete data, because the user AK-03 having the role consumer. That's why he can able to view the complete data. Any questions?
Here, is there any interview questions?
So here the interview questions will be, the first question is, the expected question is, why you are going for dynamic data masking? The reason is, if with the help of normal view or secure view, we can share a few columns data to the user, so that that particular user can able to view those data only. But in the here the drawback here is, consumer doesn't know whether this table having this many columns or not. Okay, so by applying a dynamic data masking, so we do not want to view any hide the columns data. We are sharing the complete table columns to the every user, every consumers, and who we will derive the role, and whoever having this role, they can able to view the complete data. Who doesn't having this role, so those columns it will display as star star or etc. So by looking at that, the end users will get to know, so yes, I do not have permissions to view this columns data, so I really want to view this data. Then they will connect to us. So we will ask them to consumer, please get it the approval from your manager or your plant owner to get it granted this role. So once we will get the approval emails from them, then we will give the permission. So here it is clearly visible, I do not have access. So if you are not sharing the complete column itself, then user may think this table doesn't having this column as data. Clear? And the next question is, the expected question is, limitations here is we cannot apply geographic data types for dynamic data masking will not support geographic data types. Geography data types, many of the softwares won't support because the geographic data type itself, it is really complicated to understand how it will work and what criteria basis it will work. So ideally, so it is not suggestible to use this dynamic data masking. So this is the limitation from the masking policy data type for geography, and masking policies cannot be applied on views, which means virtual columns. That is also one limitation. And another limitation is masking policy cannot be defined in the input data type, and input data type is timestamp and the returning the value as string. It will not be. So it will always be a string only, which means input and output type should be the same. So what I mean to say here, okay, so it should be always one same data type. It should not be a different data type. Okay, so this is the limitation. And so is there any restriction to share the data from one user to another user, or one Snowflake account to another Snowflake account, or one Snowflake account to another reader account? So there is no restriction. We can share the data to anyone, and there is no limitation to share the data, how much data we supposed to expose. So we can share the complete billions and trillions of data also, we can share it. So and another question is, so masking policies, here we have took 3 columns, right? So in case if the table having, imagine if the table having 100 columns, and you are applying a masking policy almost 80 to 90 columns. So ideally, it is not suggestible to apply 80 to 90 columns out of 100, because instead of applying a masking policy, why can't we create a table which is having this 80 to 90 columns, and we will apply a policy, separate policy for the table. So we will create another table which is having rest of 10 to 20 tables are there, right? 10 to 20 columns. Make it one table, and remaining 10 to 20 columns will make it another table. This will be a good idea. Okay. And here the masking policy privileges are apply and ownership. So we having 2 times masking policy privileges. So the question is, what are the masking policy privileges? One is the apply, and the second one is ownership. So apply operates for the masking policy, and the ownership is basically it will transfer ownership of masking policy, which grant full control and it require almost alter the properties of masking policy. Okay, it is moreover like we can create any new role and new users. If needed, we can grant the permissions, and we can create and apply a masking policies. Okay, so these are the questions we may expect, and I'm again and again I'm telling. So whoever having full-fledged account admin access, those people only this tab will enable. Rest other people, they can't be able to view this tab. Okay, so this dynamic data masking can only work on Snowflake admin people. No, Snowflake system admin role who having, which means Snowflake developers by default having a system admin role, right? So system admin people also they can start doing this. Okay, so they can write the code and they can derive the role name and they can create a policy and they can apply the policy, masking policy on the specific column and names on the table. So they can apply it. Okay, so here whoever having the role permissions, those people only can able to view the data. Rest other people they won't able to view it. So that's why. So if you get any interview question, even I'm having account admin role, but still I do not have a permissions view of the confidential tables data. So the reason is they applied on masking policies. Okay, so irrespective of data, so any table we assign a role, which means whoever having that role, those people only can able to view the data. Rest other people they can't able to view it. So the best example here is I'm account admin. So even account admin, I still do not have permissions to view the data. Email, phone number, and country. Correct. This is how it should be restricted in the organizations. Okay. Any questions?
Hello.
Yeah.
In this one, we created a mask demo role, right?
Yes.
Is there any mandatory? Because we are not
No.
used anywhere.
No, it's not a mandatory. So you can remove that. So which means in going forward, if you want to add any masking policies roles under the masking policy, this masking policy automatically granted to this consumer, which means role to role. So if I make any corrections in the masking demo, or if I add any extra features in the mask demo, automatically it will reflect to the consumer.
Okay.
So that's why I given this. So instead of touching consumer, so you can for consumer we have created or defined only for employees data. So in tomorrow you worked on invoice related data. So invoice related data you applied on mask demo role. Okay, so this mask role it's already granted to the consumer. So which means the consumer now can able to view or access invoice related data also in future if you want. If you don't want to grant this role from one role to another role, then you can ignore this. Okay, clear?
Yeah, clear.
Yeah. So we successfully completed Snowflake admin course also. So I covered almost all the topics. So only one thing, external tokenization. External tokenization setup will be completely different. So the code remains as it is same, but whenever we are executing a query, then it will ask the external tokenization from the third party system, not in the Snowflake side. So that token number has to be in the external system level. Then only we can able to view the data or load the data or whatever it is. Until unless we cannot able to view the data. So that is completely different, and external tokenization setup we need third party systems. So it's very simple, and it is not 100% required to work on external tokenization. External tokenization is something like in top of that Snowflake charging bit extra. So extra authentication we need it, right? So extra authentication always Snowflake charge more amount for that. Okay, so you can ignore external tokenization. Dynamic data masking is more sufficient. So till today, whatever the class we discussed, so this is more than sufficient to get the job, and even so to sustain in the real time also. If you guys really practiced thoroughly, and it is up to you guys. So whoever want to look only account admin side, they can prepare your resumes on account admin side, and whoever working as a Snowflake developer, they can keep it as it is. If you keep a Snowflake admin and Snowflake developer, then which means within the shortage you get very good exposure on that, and their expectations will be too high. So keep that in mind, and you can prepare your resumes and can start looking. Don't delay it, guys. So if you start, whoever not yet started, at least you guys can start now. So you guys start preparing it. If you feel some of the areas, some of the clarification you needed over a period of time, if required, we can connect one more session. Okay.
Okay.
Is it fine? So yeah. So we'll we done almost 100% course Snowflake development and Snowflake admin. So you guys can start preparing. So last week Sunday, how we connected? So more than 2.5 hours, right? So everyone is joined on the day, and whoever having questions they raised. So the same way, if required, we can connect it. So okay. Yeah, so all the best, guys. So if you need anywhere, anytime, any clarification, so you guys can decide and come up with the questions, then it will really helpful for us. Okay, so that one day we will decide and we will connect that day. We are having clarification doubts, we will finish the day.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you, guys. Thanks to everyone. All the best, and have a nice day. Stay safe, stay home.